What's up, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you guys some of the new 2-on-1 builds Maru has been playing. Bjorn has also been playing a few, and I'm sure other people have copied it, but this is quite cool for me because I used to play 2-on-1 all the time, and now the build seems to finally actually be back, but with some new cool variations. For the people that don't know what a 2-on-1 is, typically 2-on-1 is just a build with a very fast second barracks, where you skip the Hellions, in TVZ of course, just to go for a super fast 2 medevac drop. Now, this build used to be quite strong, but it got figured out after a while. This build was very meta, but like 4 years ago. But now there's new versions where Terran is not actually economically that far behind. And yeah, it seems really cool. I've actually tried a few. I'm going to show you guys 2 versions today. The one I'm going to show you first right here is my personal favorite one. Then the one after this is probably the coolest one with a CC first. Well, basically, how a 2-on-1 normally goes is you get the barracks, obviously open with the Reaper. You get a command center down. Then before the second depot, you add a second barracks already. Then the depot and the gas and stuff factory. And that way you can go for 2 medevacs, 16 marine drops before 5 minutes already. Now, Maru, this is a game from the TSL, by the way, Team Liquid Star League. Top 4 match, so it was really high up, playing against Dark, of course, as you can see. Super high level game. And Maru, I think he used even 3 2-on-1s in this series. And I'm going to show you game 1 of the series and game 3, which are both really cool. So obviously, up until this point, everything is normal. I'll also link the TSL 6 replay pack, by the way, in the description if you want to check out these games. And the other ones as well from the tournament. So right now it's still normal. Super standard Reaper opener. Barracks first into the gas. SCV scout to be safe. I think with this build you may be able to skip the SCV scout because Maru is actually going to go for a second Reaper. So it's possible you can skip it, but I'm not sure. I scout anyway. So here's the first thing Maru changes. Instead of going for a Marine or a reactor, he makes a second Reaper. And with this version, he actually does get the depot before the second barracks. Those things are the most important. And basically what this version of 2-on-1 is that it's adapted a little bit. So Maru can get a faster third command center while still playing 2-on-1. Normally, like I said, you have a really fast drop. But the downside is that you actually don't have a third fast. So if you don't get a lot of damage, which Zergs learn to prevent, you actually just can end up being behind. But with this version, Maru actually is economically still in a pretty good spot. So he gets a second Reaper and then the reactor. He misplaces barracks, by the way, lol. Then he gets the gas, or the gas is after the second barracks rather, before the reactor. And 2 Reapers actually going to allow him to put a really good amount of pressure on, especially on Zerglings if they don't expect it. One thing that you can do, this is like a cool trick. That Maru didn't actually do here. If you do go for 2 Reapers and you're try hard enough, you can actually use your scouting SCV to block the third, because normally this is denied by, you know, just a queen walking there or some Zerglings. But if you have 2 Reapers, you can actually block his third for a lot longer. So if you want to spend the APM and stuff to do that, you could actually try and block the third base with your scouting SCV. So here we go, orbital command. And make a tech lab on this one, so you have 1 reactor, 1 tech lab. And now you can already see why Maru is actually able to afford a third command center. And it's the second Reaper. It doesn't just allow him to put more pressure on, but it also delays the reactor. Because Reapers actually take pretty long to build, by the way. I'm pretty sure you can almost make 2 Marines for 1 Reaper. So that means 1 Reaper will save almost 4 Marines of cost, right? From the reactor. And then you can see he can afford his third command center very fast. It doesn't mean he can have perfect unit production. As you can see, he has to wait just a little bit. But it's totally worth it. He's still going to have enough Marines for the drop. It's going to be a bit delayed compared to a normal 2-on-1, but he's going to have a fast third with it. And I've actually tried this build a few times. I've tried a bunch of 2-on-1 versions. But this one does feel really good. Like, it's not very often that you have a build where you can put so much pressure on while still actually having a decent economy, to be honest. Like here you can see being very annoying with the Reapers. You know, denying some creep and stuff like that. Of course, It's not like you can just dive into the Reapers and kill a bunch of stuff. Unless Zerg pulls all the queens to the front and doesn't leave a single queen at home, then you can dive in and get some drones. But otherwise, you have to contend with just the pressure, getting some creep tumors and things like that, right? So obviously, after the factory is done, the next step is to get the starport plus the reactor on the factory. I do feel like this build also flows kind of nicely. Like normally with a 2-on-1, it does feel very tight. Like if you SCV scout with a regular 2-on-1, for example, it already feels like you sometimes have to cut some SCVs to afford your stuff, and it doesn't really flow that well. But this build flows very nicely. Most of the time, it's quite obvious when you make your units. You don't really have to cut any SCVs or some weird stuff like that, which is really nice. Instant tank on the, or a tech lab on the factory for Maru. Personally, I like to go for reactor straight away, because against me, people don't really play roaches or anything like that a lot. I'm also not looking to play a tank timing follow-up. So I prefer to get like an instant reactor on this. Now, Korean meta is a lot to play like fast mine drops, a lot of mine drops, and it looks like that's what Maru is going for here. That's why he's getting the second factory. It's not like he's playing mech or anything like that, guys. He just wants to go for fast mine drops. Gonna add an armory here to not just make the mines cloaked, but also be able to upgrade the drilling class upgrade here, which makes them burrow faster. But as you can see, he is going for those E-base, going for that bio play. Just gonna add some mine drops in for extra damage. Personally, I don't really do this with this build. I would just make a reactor here, put a barracks there, so you end up with a very normal 3 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport situation. And yeah, to be honest, this is a very high APM style that Maru is going to play here with the mine drops. Actually, because of that, guys, maybe I'll add a replay of me playing this build so you can see my follow-up as well. Right now we're focusing on the real players like Maru, but since I want to show you guys my way to do it as well, I'm going to add a replay in the description of me doing it. So Maru here is just going to go to pressure. This is the entire point of the build, by the way. You go for the early 2 drops, and you can attack everywhere. Like you can drop in the main, like you saw. You can deny creep. And it's a little bit different than Hellions in the way that they're not as good against Zerglings, but they have a lot of mobility, especially because you can pick them up. They can actually kill queens, not if there's 85 of them together right here, but you can actually kill queens really fast if they're out of position. I think damage is a bit more sustained, because staying at the front with Hellions is kind of scary. Now Dark is actually going to play Pureling Bane here. So once again, to show you guys the setup Maru is going for, he basically has 2-2-1. But that honestly sounds kind of weird for me to say, but that's I guess that's what Koreans play a lot these days. 2 barracks, 2 factories, 1 starport. And I guess he will be adding 3 barracks to that pretty soon. For now, he's just going to be doing pressure with these 2 medevacs. One downside I do have to say about Maru's style, guys, is that if you go for those 2 factories and the mine drops, your harassment is super strong, okay? But Widow Mines, this means you don't have a lot of Marines early on. Like, besides the first 16, you can tell he only made about 8 since then. I probably lost a few, so let's say 10 or 12. But you don't have Hellions, you don't have tanks, you don't have a lot of Marines, like I said. So defending run-bys is actually a lot more difficult. I feel like this style that Maru is playing is really, really good against defensive Zergs. But if you play it against an aggressive Zerg, I would way rather go for just the regular barracks approach. Looks like we're even going to see it here, to be honest. I don't see any medevac near. So if Dark just commits here, this would be pretty tough for Maru. And here you can see he's losing a lot of stuff. This kind of looks like an F2. It would be way nice if we... there we go. He's going to clear some creep with that. And the Dark is honestly doing the right thing here by just pressuring him. Hindering Maru's build a lot. And here you can see finally Maru getting those extra barracks. It feels really late, but I guess that's just what it looks like when you go for a 2-2-1. And then after this, he's going to start that 2-2. Next step for Maru is definitely to get the 4th command center, I would say. But it doesn't really look like Dark is going to let him get there, to be honest. Because how is he supposed to afford a 4th command center when he has, you know, no 3rd landed, pretty much. Okay, So basically for this part, I just wanted to show you guys the setup of the build. Now, it looks like this game is getting really weird. I honestly didn't remember this. It looks like the game is getting really weird. Third is not going to be able to land. I wanted to show you guys what the setup looks like. So Maru goes for the 2-2-1 and then 3 extra barracks. Third command center. Make sure to download my replay in the description too, guys. But for now, I'm going to show you guys another version of Maru's 2-on-1 that was really cool. So let's get into that. So what Maru is going to do here is actually very cool. This opener hasn't been seen for a pretty long time until recently, when Maru actually did it in GSL. I believe it was against Armani. I think Beyond may have done it before that too. I'm not completely sure about it. But Maru is actually going to go for a CC first into 2-on-1. Now CC first kind of died out a bit. It was pretty popular a few years ago, especially into mech. But especially since mech is not popular anymore at all. I guess CC first kind of died with it because CC first into buy was not really a thing. So I have to say this build is pretty greedy, guys. I've tried this myself too, and this build does feel very greedy. But if you get away with it, it could be very powerful. So he goes for the 17 CC, 18 barracks. And he's going to go for a 19 gas. There we go. And note Maru's barracks positioning, guys. Maru builds his barracks so that he can make a wall off with 2 add-ons. Now, that might sound kind of crazy, and it probably is. 20-second gas, by the way. And then he's going to rally this SCV over here to make the second barracks. So as you can see, he's going to build a second barracks here. So that means his first add-on will wall off this part between these 2 barracks, and his second add-on will wall off this. Now, I'm just telling you guys this is what Maru does. This is not how I would wall off, because it seems a bit crazy. You might as well wall off with just 1 add-on right here, I guess. But Maru is Maru, and we are Terran school, so we're gonna follow him in his steps. Then Maru gets an instant reactor. Note, no Marine, no Reaper, instant reactor. And one thing I have to note with this, because you guys might be thinking, what if they go pull first and send some Zerglings? I think you are dead in that case. This is, like I said, this is not a very safe build. And I'm pretty sure if they go pull first and they make more than 2 links, you're probably dead or in a decent amount of trouble. So keep that in mind when trying out this builder. I don't know if guys in your leagues play a lot of pull first or not. If I play a pro player, I can probably do this just fine because pull first is not really popular anymore. So note, before a single unit, he will have made a factory, reactor on the first barracks, tech lab on the second barracks. And from then on, he's just going to start marine production. And his economy is going to be really good from now, especially because he's going to have that second meal. Note one thing, guys, is that he does have some anti-Zergling protection. Like, if you go for a hatch first and send 4 Zerglings across the map, which they can do because they see no Reaper, Maru launches the mules in the main, so the Zerglings can't sneak in here and either kill a mule or delay it from mining. So until you have some units out to protect that natural, make sure to launch your mules into the main to be safe. And then after this is just going to be the exact same setup as I told you guys before. He's going to be making Marines. No Reapers this time, however, because of the CC first. And then we're going to go for that same double drop. Wolof going to be going on the natural. And this is similar to the last 2-on-1 I showed you guys in the way that it's a very high economy 2-on-1. But it's different, right? This has a really strong economy early game. The 3cc version of last game gets a really strong economy later on. And you can tell these guys were playing a lot of mind games. I told you guys both games were from a best of 5 in a tournament. Dark almost always plays roaches, but like defensive. But this time he saw no Reaper, no Hellion Scouts, because Maru was just kind of blind countering him, you know, no pull first, just regular roach play. So then, because Dark sees no scouting, he actually is going for a roach all in this game. Which Maru is going to have a lot of trouble with, to be honest. I don't think he should have. But, you know, like I said, since he's Maru, we don't doubt him. He did have a lot of trouble. So you can see. And actually, this drop, by the way, is really fast, guys. Those medevacs are going to finish at 4:30, which is just a normal timing. Which sounds kind of crazy to me after a CC first especially, but for some reason, it just works out. These Korean Terrans with their crazy build orders, I don't know, man. So here Maru is going to go for a reactor first. Note that as well as the follow-up. Now this game, I'm also not going to show all of it because this game is... how long? This game was 47 minutes long. So I'm just going to show you guys the basic setup and stuff. So here, this is what it would look like for Maru. He gets the 2 barracks. As you can see, drop moves out at about 435. Then he gets the reactor on the factory and the 3rd command center. The reactor on the factory kind of makes me think he was going to go for the Widowmine drop style again as well. But I'm not completely sure because as you can tell, the game is about to get really weird. 2-on-1 hitting against a Roach-all-in, pretty much. Now, to be honest, when I looked at this, I felt like it should be a pretty easy hold. But Dark actually ended up being a little bit ahead after this. So just to give you guys some tips. There's not that much Roach Ravager here, and there's a lot of Marines. So what Maru should have done in this case was just actually go for it, because Marines are too fast for the Roach Ravager to escape. So Dark would have had to use the Zerglings, but would have been melted by the Marines. So you see here, Maru is going forward, which is the right moves. But then he gets scared because of the Biles, and he kind of backs off, like there. But if Maru went forward here, he would have killed this attack, guaranteed. And he would have been in a fantastic position. Instead, he got scared, he backs off, and now he's going to lose these depots. He's going to lose this upgrade, might lose this 3rd command center. So against this, you definitely have to be a bit decisive. If there were no Ravagers here, 100% stay behind your wall, relax, there's nothing to lose, and do that. But since there's a Ravagers are very fragile. They have a lot of damage, they have the really strong ability Corrosive Bile. But they do die very fast, so... If he went for it there, I guarantee you Maru would have killed the army. That was a big mistake by Maru. Ended up doubting him anyway. I'm sorry, guys. What can I say? I gotta learn it to you guys the right way. And yeah, this is gonna be a bit awkward because obviously Dark can't really commit with an army like this against so many stinned Marines. Then he would just die, but he can bile everything down. But beyond this point, it's gonna be an insane late game. Dark is gonna keep dancing back and forth with his Ravagers. So I'm not going to show you guys any more of this game. I just wanted to show you guys the 2-on-1 setups. I hope you guys like the builds. I think they could be a bit complicated, but very cool. I really enjoyed trying them out, especially the version on Pillars of Gold, the first game. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching the video. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.